Hi everyone and welcome back to SwitchUp. I hope you've had a nice week. It's Sunday again and it's that time where we look at the games that are on sale. Now someone mentioned last week, wow, your Eshop 10% saving actually works. And obviously that's in the EU and the US regions, and yeah, it does. You have to go to the website, use code SwitchUp and buy your Eshop vouchers on there, and then you use those vouchers on the actual Eshop to save 10%. Might sound tricky, but it's really pretty straightforward, honestly. And unlike a lot of the key websites that you find online, which are essentially money laundering scams, this one's actually through Nintendo and then a company called FameHype who do all the legwork. Alright then, it's getting more expensive, things are ramping up and we're releasing way more reviews because there's actually stuff worth covering, so do check out any reviews you might have missed this week, and we'll go over the best sales that we think are available at the moment. What's on sale? Well, let's find out. First up then, we've got Assassin's Creed The Rebel Collection, which is down 70% to its cheapest ever price until October the 2nd. Now, controversially, this is actually my favourite Assassin's Creed game ever. Well, Assassin's Creed 4, I should say. I would absolutely love it if they did a sequel to the Pirates, kind of this Pirates world. There was something super chill about just sailing around on your ship, going to different places and then jumping off or jumping overboard and going to look for treasure and climbing a few trees. Yeah, I really like this one. I know some people didn't, but it's always the way, isn't it? And the way that Assassin's Creed's going in the mainline series, I mean, it's all going a bit awry, isn't it? So it's nice to just go back sometimes to some of your favourites. It scored 87% on the channel, and for £11.99 for two of the best Assassin's Creed games ever, you can't go too far wrong with that. Which takes me on to the Metro series. Now at the moment you've got Metro 2033 and Last Light, and I think they're both 90% off, but at the moment I'll just focus on 2033. It's a ridiculous £2.24. It's absolutely worth that price. You're looking at what? 6.2 gigs to download, about 10 to 15 hours of gameplay. It scored 86% on this channel, and I believe it's had a couple of patches since it launched. Obviously it's from the first person, you play as Artyom. It's all set within a metro system below the ground because there's this well, not only is it infested with these hideous mutated monsters, but it's also slightly radioactive. They're really good games. I would like to see the next one, Metro Exodus, come across to the Switch in some form, but they have gyroscopic controls. There are lots of different difficulty modes. I think it's called Ranger mode, and it makes things brutal if you want to go down that route. But for £2, I mean, yeah, definitely worth that price. Now, a more interesting one, potentially, just because it doesn't get many mentions, is Journey to the Savage Planet. This kind of reminded me of No Man's Sky when I first saw it, but it's more kind of like an Outer Worlds Borderlands mashup with some No Man's Sky style planets. I say that because it has a real sense of humour to it. You kind of start off dropped on this planet, and then in the Outer Worlds style, you've got these video messages back on your ship, kind of telling you what to do and where to go next. Now this is 75% off at the moment until September the 23rd, and it's a 3.9 gigabyte download. It had a few performance issues, not massive ones, but you know, a few stutters and things. I don't think it's perfect, but it's definitely good enough, and you're looking at about 10 to 12 hours of gameplay at £6.24. It's a nice price, really. I wouldn't have recommended it at full price, but where it is now, I'd say it might be for some people. I think you'd kind of know just by looking at it. Next up, we've got Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. This is 35% off until September the 28th and was just a massive surprise when it came out. No one expected what they got. It was a very small team and they created something entirely unique. You're looking at about 30 to 40 hours of gameplay, and it's spread across several different seasons, and it scored 88% here on the channel. Now, essentially, it's split between going out on expeditions, which have almost an action platform style to them, and staying back at home and tending to your rice paddies. It's super chill. Does take a bit of time, can be a bit monotonous when you're doing the rice, but I don't know, something about it was just very relaxing. And then that feeds back into the gameplay by unlocking certain... Completely different. We've got the semi-souls like Ashen, which is another that goes on sale quite often, but it hasn't seen sales like this. It's down 75% until September the 25th. They just take more and more money off each time. It's down to £7.99. You're looking at a massive semi-open world that gradually expands. You're looking at a mechanic that essentially allows you to gradually rebuild your village. There are these 3 massive boss fights that you're going for, and there's some good boss combat in there, to be honest. And there is an annoying co-op mechanic where you can join people online. Why don't they just put lobbies in these things? Yeah, I think it's a code if I remember rightly. In terms of game length, about 16 to 20 hours if you're going to do like a rush playthrough. And then there's some DLC as well that you can buy that's also on sale. This scored 86% on the channel. Monster Hunter Rise is down 50% until October the 4th. I think that might be its joint lowest ever price. Takes it down to £24.99. And I mean, I know there are some people that are like, I value games based on the amount of time I spend in them. I don't personally do that, but Monster Hunter, not only is it amazing, you can spend 500, 600, 700 hours, but still be enjoying it and still be unlocking new things and still be fighting new monsters. So it's worth it just from that standpoint, really. It's a lovely game, brilliant online if you can get a group of you together, and it scored 92% on the channel. I'm a big fan of the direction they've taken with the Atelier series. It's like they did 24 games and then they were like, okay, right, maybe we should stop using the exact same engine and the exact same formula. Maybe it needs a bit of polish. And they've improved it massively, in my opinion, for the Riser games. Riser 1 and 2, both reviewed on the channel, really enjoyed them. Riser 2 scored 90%. I think the first one, for me, was a little bit not quite as good. Still brilliant, but not quite as good. I think it might have been like in the 80s, 88, 89, something like that. What I liked about these is the improvements to the actual Atelier system. If you're not sure what that is, These are based around alchemy and brewing potions and things like that. And they just made it much more streamlined and easier to remember old potion recipes and things like that. The visual lick of paint didn't hurt, and I really enjoyed the visuals. They were very shiny. It's a 6.7 gigabyte download and about 40 to 50 hours long at snail pace like me. There is a physical of that available as well if you want to check out and see if you can find that for cheaper. Then we've got a game that was recommended to me a long time ago by Glen. It's the Blaster Master series. I played the first Blaster Master on Switch and it's just brilliant, really good. You like switch between this tank and the character, and it has some classic style gameplay in there. But then they released Blaster Master 02 and Blaster Master 3. All of them, the whole series at the moment, are on sale. But maybe check out Blaster Master 01 if you've not done so. But if you have 02 for 50% off, it's only 228 megs. It's a nice little 8 to 10 hour long experience. I don't know whether it's better than the first game. I'd say maybe not. It doesn't take as many risks, but it's still really enjoyable. And for £4.49, well, that's certainly worth it if you're a fan of this genre. It also has a killer soundtrack, like brilliant. And that sale goes on until September the 28th.
They can be chained into multiple attacks that dish out lots of damage back at the enemy. In Blaster Master 02, the stage is set in outer space, and there's more to explore than ever before as you travel across the galaxy to a
which takes us on to our hidden gem of the week. And it's one that I've personally had to purchase and have a little play of and think, does this qualify as a hidden gem? I think it does. Now, I'm a big strategy fan, and on Switch, there aren't a great deal of strategy games. And Team 17 quietly released a game that was previously out on PC called Before We Leave. It takes elements of some of my favourites like Populous, Settlers, and it pits you on a small little planet, and you're gradually expanding. Now, while it says that it's non-violent, you won't be fighting other tribes and things, there are a few problems to deal with, like a giant whale that comes through space and sucks up half of what you've placed down. And not only can you sail around the planet to find new areas and find new resources, you can set up supply lines all around it and gradually bolster the whole place. And then when you're ready, you can blast off and literally go to brand new planets. It's very cool. These kinds of games are always best, really, if you've got a mouse and keyboard. But without that, the controls aren't terrible. Honestly, they could be a lot worse. So yeah, if you're after a little strategy hidden gem, then maybe consider that one. It's £9.59 until September the 28th and just 700 megabytes. Then we've got a couple that are still on sale from last week's video. RPG Maker is still on sale for another day at 70% off. A brilliant chance to make your own little RPGs and adventures. Undertale is 40% off until September the 21st. Ignore my little spelling mistake at the bottom there. Sheltered is 80% off until September the 28th. And also The Serpent Rogue was a really interesting one. That's also 40% off. And they have reviews, so if you want to check out our full reviews, just a quick search on YouTube and you shall have the full story on those. I need a bit of time to talk about the next game. Well, actually before that, you've got Farm Tycoon is still 50% off until September the 30th. That's a lovely little game. And it was our hidden gem of the week last week, I think. Which takes us on to that glorious section where I buy a game on sale because I'm worried that a lot of people might see it and think, yeah, that looks good. But actually, it hasn't always worked out that they're bad games. Last week, I bought the game Easy Red 2 based on one of your suggestions in the comments, and it was surprisingly okay. It was a little Battlefield style title. But this week I saw a game called Soulsland on the eShop, and just from the title alone I had a little tingling feeling. It reminded me of the time I bought Gangster Magic, and I booted it up. And, success, really, with the gold seal of quality. It actually boots up. And you get to the screen, it doesn't say new game, it doesn't say options, it just says a load of different levels. So I must admit I was a bit worried. I booted into the first level, and yeah, they basically have taken the very basics of a Souls game. A person, a sword and a shield, and then a load of enemies that you can lock onto, and obviously the stamina system at the top of the screen. Unfortunately though, your character doesn't swing his sword, he kind of dances with it, like left and right, close to himself. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. He never seems to actually swing it properly, which is unfortunate really. It doesn't really connect with the enemies. They're whiffing around as well. I think both of you and the enemy just feel embarrassed by the situation, and I was embarrassed to be playing it. Now at the moment it's £1. Don't spend £1 on it. It's absolute trash, and it's one of the few where, you know, I was playing it, I wasn't laughing, I was like, this is sad. This is really sad. Why? I think they're just asset flip games and they're just trash. And it makes me sad that anyone would spend money on it. There are brilliant games for very small prices that we could recommend to you. And hopefully we may have a new sales series starting midweek that will do exactly that. But for this price, like, don't do it to yourself. Different levels to choose from. You've got a ranged attack that doesn't work. It fires invisible arrows that don't connect with the enemies. And just sit this one out, really. I've taken the hit. Do not buy it. Total trash. And that's it for this week. Let me know in the comments what games you've been playing. As always, I really like to hear what you've picked up or what games you're waiting for. And like I said at the start, we've got so many reviews out this week of games that are interesting. Things like Bear and Breakfast. What an amazing game. Loved it. We've just put out a review of Potion Permit. And we've got loads coming up for you. So if you enjoy the content, consider sticking around and do save 10% on any of the games using code SwitchUp over at switchup.gg. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch Up. Cheers, guys. See ya!